Episode 3. The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Everyone, get in here!
Ready for action!
I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is The Angry Chicken.
Welcome back, everybody. This is The Angry Chicken, episode 290. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and I am here with just Willie Dills, Gregory, because we remembered that, oh, hey, Dills, Thanksgiving is this week, so we needed to shift some schedules around.
Yes.
And
I'm going to be in San Francisco for the rest of the week, so got to get this done now. I'm actually getting ready to get on a plane here pretty soon. So
yeah, you're traveling today.
Yes,
you're gonna
today. I'll be there until Friday, and hopefully it's not super smoky. They've been having the campfire thing going on in California, and apparently even though San Francisco itself is not on fire, the effects of the fire are being felt pretty heavily in the Bay Area. So
yeah, man. Well,
best wishes to all the people out in that area. Hopefully this gets cleared up soon.
Yeah. All of our listeners out there are very, very sorry to hear you're dealing with all of this. That's I feel like I've traded. Last year, all of my California friends were like, "Oh my God, are you alive after Irma?"
Right.
And now I'm just like, is everyone okay out there? Can you?
Tables have turned.
You know, it's most places you live in the States have some kind of natural disaster to contend with, right? So, whatever the case is, but you're going to meet family out there. I'm assuming they've let you know, hey, it's okay. Thanksgiving is still on.
It's supposed to have been. We're through the worst of it, I think. So,
yeah.
I'm gonna stop by a Home Depot before I head out because I got to pick up a gas mask, or not a gas mask, but a
respirator,
a face cover of some sort.
Yeah, respirator. But I wish you safe travels, dude. I'm going to the other coast of Florida to celebrate Thanksgiving with my family. And but we have other things to celebrate, including winners of Taco Boomsday.
That's right. Taco Boomsday was on Saturday. We had a lot of fun. It was a great field. This was by far, and I think because it was a smaller field, we had mostly people who had played in tacos previously. So these were kind of more of our hardcore taco players.
Would you call them seasoned tacos?
Seasoned tacos, exactly.
Okay.
We had very few issues. Like normally in the first round, there's lots of, oops, I put in the wrong score for this match or something like that, and I have to go in and I have to manually fix a whole bunch of match scores and things. I had none of that. I was just sitting there waiting for a problem to pop up, and it just never happened. And we got to the top 8 or the top 4 pretty quickly. And our top 4 was some familiar names. Clinch, Liga, and Gertab were all there, but Bigwig was able to take the entire tournament down. And so congratulations to Bigwig. They all played great in the top 4. There was a lot of interesting plays, interesting situations. I had a lot of fun casting it. Also, congrats to Mockthal and some 70s guy because they are the participation winners. So we'll also get some packs, and I will send you all the information. But I'm assuming so far from everybody they want to wait until Rastakon's Rumble anyway to get their packs on. So
so
we won't be sending those out anytime soon. But all those 6 players will receive those. And, it was a lot of fun. Warlock, Paladin, Shaman, most popular decks. That didn't really shock me except for the Shaman. We had a lot of even Shaman, but when you look at HCT, a lot of players aren't bringing that. It did really well in the Taco, so I think it's actually a decent tournament deck. It's obviously really good on ladder. Rogue had the highest win rate. Most people were playing odd Rogue, but there were some tempo Rogues out there. And Warrior was only played in one game in the entire tournament and did not win that game.
We tend to see much more common to see ladder decks in the Angriest Chicken Open.
Yeah,
because that's what most of the contestants are used to playing in. Is ladder.
Sure, they're not playing with teammates and battle testing their tournament lineup specifically built for that. There was definitely, you could tell people were built for a tournament. Like we saw things, it's like more tech cards and stuff like that. But yeah, you're gonna see a lot more ladder decks. Aggro tempo decks definitely were the kings. But there was an Egg Paladin in that top 4. Liga played it. It was pretty cool. It had Linessa and a Noyo module, no meat wagon. So he was calling it Omelet Paladin instead of Breakfast Paladin because no meat.
Oh, I like it. I like it. But I put meat in my omelet sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, you can put whatever you want in omelet.
Not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. So Taco Rastakon, look for that to be a little earlier in the expansion cycle. I'm hesitant to schedule it until we see if we feel like something is broken and needs to get nerfed and we want to wait until that happens, or if we just want to go ahead and do it like after maybe like a month or so of the cards being out. So I'm guessing right now probably around mid-January is when you'll start hearing us talk about that. So look forward to that, everybody.
And if you are a winner of packs, keep an eye out from me for friending you, because I can't gift packs in the game unless we've been friends for, I believe, 2 days is the window. So keep an eye out, because the sooner you accept that, the closer to Rasakon's launch I can get you those packs. So please go check that out. And thanks to our patrons for making this happen. We started this because we hit a goal on the Patreon over at patreon.com/TAC. So thank you for the support, everybody. We very much appreciate it. So yeah, just keep an eye out.
Oh yeah, and the top 4 VOD is up on Amove's YouTube now. So if you guys want to go watch that back, if you didn't catch it live, go check it out. Really good one.
YouTube.com/AmoveTV on there right now as we're speaking. So go check it out. But Dills, we're recording this a day early, and last night when I sat down to write the notes, there were like 3 new cards to talk about. There are a lot new cards now.
Yeah, they know that we do the show on Tuesdays now, so they give us all the stuff on Monday, but they didn't realize that we're going to make a scramble.
Yeah, they clearly schedule all of their reveals around this show.
Exactly, and they tried. Thank you, but we screwed it up this time. It's on us.
Yep. But there's a lot of cards to talk about, so let's get into this week's card talk.
Okay, so what's the rules?
Well, there's only one rule, Ben.
Okay, so what's the...
There are no rules!
Okay.
So there was just a reveal stream, and many new cards were revealed. Kicking us off is a new Druid card. It's called Ironhide Direhorn. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Yeah, I'm going to mess that up a lot.
Oh, yeah. I'm just. So when we shorten this, are we going to call it just Ironhide or just Direhorn?
Probably Ironhide, but yeah, Direhorn may make sense too.
I'm going to call it.
I'm going to call it Ironhorn.
I was going to say I'm going to call it Ironhorn. Yeah. Anyway, Ironhide Direhorn is a 7-mana 7/7 common Druid beast with Overkill on it, and Overkill reads: summon a 5/5 Ironhide Runt.
I'm guessing the Runt is also a beast.
I would say that's a safe assumption. I did not get to see the stream because I was doing weak sauce and then also preparing.
But I'm guessing we've had Direhorns before, and they have hatchlings and they're little beasts as well. So yeah, this seems like fairly decent. I definitely see this being played a lot in Arena because 7-mana 7/7 that already exists. War Golem is already a thing, but in Constructed, you might run into a problem where I play this and then I need a turn for it to be able to attack, right? And so people can respond to it. In Arena, that's going to happen less often, and you are going to overkill things with a 7 attack minion. So you're going to get that 5/5 pretty often, I think. Yeah, this just seems crazy. Seems really good. You're probably going to get multiple Ironhides, honestly, because
it's not a stretch of the imagination to believe that, especially in an Arena situation.
Yeah. Now, Constructed, again, it's like a lot of times you want cards that have immediate impact, so I'm hesitant to say that I think this will see Constructed play. Also, a lot of decks are kind of built around some sort of finishing combo, not just put strong minions on the board and hope that they finish the game off. So, and that's kind of the style of deck you would expect to see with this guy. But also, like, what if you just played this as one of your only beasts and then you Witching Houred back more of these for 3 mana? It's like, I guess it could be something there, too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're finally getting to the point where we're done talking about, is Beast Druid a potential? Like, it felt like for years that was the thing. But there's so much Beast synergy now in Druid, in Standard and in Wild, that, it is a consideration.
Yeah, and I think, if you're running specific beasts that have specific synergies, then sure. Like we saw the Hadronox thing with the Witching Hour, right? Like that looked like Witching Hour was supposed to try to push Beast Druid. It ended up pushing Taunt Druid instead. This seems to me like, you could have this be one of your only beasts and then just get more of them and more of them and more of them, and you overtake people with 7/7s that pop out 5/5s. So that could be a thing. We'll see.
Yeah. Also, like, it makes me interested once Hadronox goes away with the new standard year. Like, what is?
Yeah,
what
like is this a thing? Yeah.
Yeah, because
Also, cubing this seems pretty strong. Get 2 of these to pop out, and it's just like, how do I kill 2 of them without overkilling? Right. The thing is like on your opponent's turn, they're gonna have to run multiple minions into it probably because they're scared as hell when your turn comes back around, and you get to just kill things and gain 5/5s. So.
Yep. Also, I like that this week we just know that overkill doesn't trigger on your opponent's turn, so it's not an issue, and we're just moving forward.
Just take that out of the equation.
Yep. Okay, that's how it works. Cool. The more I thought about it, I'm like, it really does free up the design space. I the more I've sat on it and let it simmer, that bothers me a lot less. But whatever the case is, because I look at that, and I'm like, everything you just described is awesome, but is it more awesome than bringing back Hadronox? I don't think it is.
Sure.
But Hadronox isn't going to be around in the standard meta for that much longer.
Yeah.
Always kind of in the back of my mind when we're looking at the final set of a standard year.
Yeah, that seems solid. Seems very solid.
And then no new Hunter cards, but we did get to see a new Mage card, a Mage Legendary.
It's a weird one.
To be exact, and this is the Mage Loa. This is, and I apologize if some lore nerd out there actually knows how to pronounce this correctly, but I'm going to go with Janalai the Dragonhawk.
That sounds right.
7 mana, 4/4 legendary beast for mages with a battle cry that reads, if your hero power dealt 8 damage this game.
That's important.
Yep.
Because, immediately you read that and think turn, and you're like, what?
I'm not done yet. Summon Ragnaros the Fire Lord.
Yeah. I mean...
What?
Sure. So 7 mana 4/4 that also summons Ragnaros. That seems good.
Oh my god. Okay.
Dealing 8 damage throughout a game as mage? That seems pretty plausible.
You do have to... This is now your goal, right? Like, no, I don't think most mages are actually dealing 8 damage with their hero power by 7 mana.
Not
actually,
by turn 7, no.
Can't.
But we haven't seen what are they calling them? The spirits? We haven't seen the spirit for mage yet, right?
Well, it was also unveiled today. It's Spirit of the Dragonhawk. So it's a two. We should probably talk about these two cards. I think we need to talk about both of them
together because the spirits and the lows generally work in tandem.
Yeah. So Spirit of the Dragonhawk is a 2 mana 0/3. It's a rare minion for mages. It has stealth for 1 turn. Reads your hero power also targets adjacent minions, which makes this a lot more doable.
Well then you could definitely do it by turn 7 then, because that's 3 damage of hero power, right? So
if there's 3 minions,
if there's 3 minions on board,
yes. And right now, in the meta we live in, that's very plausible. There's a lot of odd paladins, odd rogues. Even paladins, token shamans. There's Zoo Warlock still hasn't gone away. There's a lot of fairly minion heavy decks that are very popular on ladder right now.
Yeah, I mean, you already see Shooting Star right now, which is deal 1 damage to 3 minions essentially that are next to each other. So now you just turn your hero power into that. You don't get to use spell power with it, but not having to use a card for the spell power, and then the fact that it's stealth for 1 turn means you could play it. Like, let's say you play it on turn 4, you get 1 activation of it, and then turn 5 comes around. Since it's stealth, it's probably still there. You get 1 more activation of it. So by turn 5, you've now dealt 6 damage with your hero power. That means, you need to get 2 more in there somewhere for turn 7. That still means that you're going to have to, I don't know, maybe on turn 2 you just ping something, so then you get 1 more. Seems like this makes this a lot more plausible. However, I'm not thinking that Janalai needs to happen exactly on turn 7. Like, these can just be one of your finishers, right?
Right.
So
it's good no matter what. So for our listeners out there, if you are just now joining Hearthstone and you only play standard and you don't know what the hell Ragnaros even does, it does 8 damage to a random enemy at the end of the turn. So you're going to drop Janalai, Ragnaros is going to summon, and then just fire 8 damage somewhere.
By the way, there's also another mage minion that goes along with this we should probably talk about.
Yes, it's almost like this was all announced just before this.
It's almost like they're making hero power mage.
Well, I was going to say it's almost like this was just announced, and this is us getting our first look at these cards ever now live on the show. But Daring Fire Eater is 1 mana, 1/1 common mage minion with a battle cry that reads your next hero power this turn deals 2 more damage.
Well, there you go. 2 more damage.
Yeah, so there's 3 damage. For a 3 mana combo. Spirit of the Dragonhawk is up to 3 damage for a 4 mana combo. So that's 2 turns, 6 damage right there.
Yeah.
If you're finding both your Spirit of the Dragonhawk and your Daring Fire Eater. If you're somehow combining these two, you're getting there really quickly. Yeah, very doable. Is this the death knell for Odd Paladin? Because it seems like it to me.
Well, if this deck gets popular, yeah. I was actually thinking about, we're going to talk about Murloc Mage later today, and Odd Paladin was like one of the worst matchups for that deck. And I was thinking that I might want to go back to like take out some of the Murlocs or some of the stuff and put back in things like Arcane Missiles and Cinderstorm, just because they can also just be burned, right? Which is one of the things the deck wants to do. And I was thinking, like, yeah, because that's one of the reasons why Odd Paladin is just so freaking good now is there's no more of that Tempo Mage thing. It seemed like Mage was one of the things kind of keeping that deck down, right? If Mage becomes that again, that would be kind of cool because I really don't like Odd Paladin just as a concept. So I'm all for it. Please do that. That being said, like I feel like we got this, we got the Spirit, we got the Jan'alai. Maybe you could Zola the Jan'alai and get it out again. You get to throw in some other big spell type things. You could also maybe throw a Dragon Caller Alana in, and then you use your hero power to kind of keep things down. So it kind of becomes like a control deck with some strong finishers. There's interesting ways you could take this deck to me. And then there's also what's the guy that makes your hero power deal double damage? If you play a Daring Fire Eater, makes it deal 3, then you play that guy, it makes it deal 6.
Oh my god.
Suddenly you're fireballing people for 2.
I can't remember the name of it. Is that still a standard card?
Yeah, because it came out with Baku and Gen, right? Because everybody immediately made Odd Hunter, where you were trying to like double the hero power. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Pretty sure they came out in the same set. So yeah, so there's stuff here, man. There's stuff here.
I'm trying to look up that card real fast because I cannot for the life of me.
I'm sure chat will. Yeah,
Double
because we tried it immediately and then everybody threw it out.
It's from it is from Witchwood. You're not wrong. It's a Clockwork Automaton. It's double the damage and healing of your hero power. It's a neutral mech of all things.
Yep.
Completely.
And that was like a card that like I remember immediately when we made Odd Hunter, we were like, obviously this goes in, right?
Yeah,
but
you know what I was
4/4 kind of sucked.
You know what I was confusing it with was Garrison Commander, which is to use your hero power twice from all the way back in TGT.
Sure. Okay. So this deck in Wild might be insane because of the fact that you can do things like that. Also, Wild will still have the 2 mana 3/2 for Mage that makes your hero power deal 2. So you do that, and then you Daring Fire deals 2 more, and now it's dealing 4. Then you make it deal AOE damage, and now you're dealing. You're doing mini flame strikes. It could be cool.
That sounds fun, but it almost seems unnecessary.
Sure.
Just with the Fire Eater and the Spirit for mages, this looks like enough tools out the gate. This is reminding me of Cthulhu all of a sudden, where they showed us Cthulhu, they showed us Cthulhu's minions, and we're like, yeah, this just makes total sense. We understand how this fits together, and that's how I'm feeling about these 3 cards here.
Yeah, I just think in Wild, like it might not keep the pace up with some of the stuff that other people are doing because it is crazy in there.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about Murloc Mage later today, and
sure, things
have gotten aggressive.
Yes, but yeah, I think all these cards are cool. I like feeling like I obviously the Loa on its own doesn't really work as a standalone card. I don't think, although I could see dealing 8 damage over the course of a game, kind of naturally with just a 1 mana or 1 damage ping. But then, like these other cards, I feel like these cards can just kind of be on their own a little bit, and they're fine. A 1 mana make your ping into a Frostbolt, that seems just okay, right? Like just without a Loa, without a Spirit to support it. So I think we're going to see these cards definitely played a lot in Arena too. It's kind of cool.
Would you play? I mean, basically, would you play a card that said deal 3 damage, summon a 1/1 for 3 mana?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Why wouldn't you?
Yes, I would. We played 3 mana 2/1s that dealt 2. So, 3 mana 1/1s that deal 3. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
I dig it. So bring that on. Shall we talk about the new Paladin card that they showed?
Yes, let's.
It's called A New Challenger. This troll has been lifting. It's a serious 6-pack there. Anyway, A New Challenger is a 7-mana epic paladin spell that reads, discover a 6-cost minion, summon it, with taunt and divine shield.
Okay. So summon something that costs 6, and then for 1 extra mana, give it taunt and divine shield.
I like it.
That seems pretty good.
That seems
Yeah,
all
that
right.
seems solid. You don't get the battle cry.
Oh, are you still there? Dills froze. It's the day of of technical difficulties. Well, hi, if you're watching this live or on YouTube, I'm just going to pause right here and wait for Dills to come back. Are you back, Dills?
Yeah, apparently my internet decided to hiccup on me, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah,
Sorry
but what
about
I was saying is...
You don't get the battle cry.
Yeah, you don't get the battle cry, but in the 6th slot, there's a lot of minions that don't really require a battle cry. They're just kind of solid bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually looking it up right now, but, things like Ancient Blossom, just a 3/8 with taunt already. You give that Divine Shield. Boulder Fist Ogre, 6 mana, 6/7. These like Cairn, imagine Cairn with taunt and Divine Shield. Coffin Crasher, give that taunt and Divine Shield.
Getting Cairn would be disgusting.
Yeah, there's just 6 mana cards that are just big bodies already, right? So, it seems like this could be pretty solid.
Yeah, and also I've been looking at these Paladin cards, looking at Shirvala, and also looking at Timeout. We talked about this last week. This is your hero is immune until your next turn. I'm looking at Shirvala, which wants you to spend a good amount of your game casting spells, chipping down his mana cost. Timeout wants you to be immune for an entire turn. Just thinking to myself, control Paladin. I think they're looking for a slower, controlly Paladin, and a new challenger just plugs right into that narrative for me.
Yeah, no, this makes a lot of sense. Also, 7-cost spell that does something proactive, like put a strong minion onto the board with taunt and divine shield. Because if it didn't, if you were just just throwing a big minion onto the board, but you didn't know that it was also going to protect you and slow the game down, this wouldn't be nearly as effective. But the fact that it does, you can play this and then also be like, I'm making Shirvala cost 7 less, and I'm protecting myself right at the same time. So, oh my god, Damage Stegatron. Forgot about this card. If it comes out without its battle cry, it's just a 5/12 with taunt and divine shield. Because that's the deal 6 to itself.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah. There's some pretty good stuff here in the 6-cost stuff. I'm looking at them all, and yeah, I'm seeing good cards here. So I'm still not sure if this is something that you play in Constructed unless this really slow kind of grindy Paladin thing comes out, because I don't think Shirvala alone is enough of a finisher to win the game off of, right?
No, I agree. Rush is not a finishing affix.
But I mean, you work really hard to get this thing out. It's not like you work really hard to get Galvadon out, and then Galvadon is a friggin' 8/8 with Wind Fury and stuff like that. That is like a finisher. This is just a piece of the puzzle. So you're still gonna have to figure out exactly how you actually kill people and win the game, right?
Well, I think it's buff spells, which is already working, especially with the advent of even Paladin right now. Mm-hmm. But imagine we weren't thinking about even or odd Paladin. We were just thinking about building a solid control deck that has buff spells. The Shirvala is just a nice bonus to a potential game plan of building a buff Paladin.
Yeah, so you could also play Quest and Linessa and stuff like that and have all those things as finishers as well. And just kind of along the way, you end up playing at some point a big old Divine Shieldy guy that heals you. So, yeah. Seems like there could be something in there. We'll have to see. Yeah.
No, I agree. But this does seem to just point to Shirvala as, hey, I work with this.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. And definitely this is just super strong in Arena, because just 7 mana make a big dude with taunt and divine shield. Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah. And we're mostly excited about the divine shield, right? Not as much the taunt.
Well, no, the taunt's important because, like I said, at least, sometimes there's going to be situations where you just need to stop them from hitting your face, So it matters. Divine shield matters more, but yeah.
Yep. I mean, I think we touched on that a little bit when we were talking about even Paladin art 2 or 3 weeks ago. Was your enemy has silence and hexes now, depending on who you're fighting, but it feels like with even Paladin, eventually they just run out of answers.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, And this is another thing. It's like, oh, you drop a 6-mana minion that also has Taunt and Divine Shield. They're going to consider using some type of removal on that.
Yeah. No, this is a solid one.
Yeah. But let's take a quick break since there are significantly more cards to talk about, and thank one of our sponsors today, and that's Harry's, which you can go and check out over at harrys.com/TAC. Dills, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the holidays are basically here.
Yeah, no, it's already time to start thinking about gifts.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to shop for dudes, right? Like, what do you get another dude for a gift?
Dude stuff. Ties, socks, power tools.
But you know what else makes a really good gift is Harry's razors.
Mm. Yeah, because you get a whole little box with like a bunch of stuff in it, so it feels like a lot. It doesn't just feel like here's this one thing I just got you.
Yeah,
you know?
They have limited edition gift sets that you can go and get, and they start at just $10. They're great. I mean,
nice.
they're ready to gift. They are handsome. I got one recently. It's plaid, Dills. It's a plaid box.
Well, that's just classy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the handle, one of the options for colors of handle blade is like this dark forest green. I love it. It's my new favorite handle blade.
Sweet.
I will be taking it with me to Thanksgiving. So, but you should definitely go check these out because they're very good. You've probably heard us talk about Harry's razors by now, but they are high quality and they are affordable. And now they make it really easy to gift to someone with these gift boxes. Again, starting at just $10, plus you get that 100% quality guarantee. If he doesn't love it, returns are quick. They're hassle-free. So go and check it out. And as a special offer, they have a new offer for the holidays. We have partnered with Harry's, and you can get $5 off any shave set. This includes their limited edition holiday sets when you go to harrys.com/TAC. Plus, you will get free shipping. This offer is for new and returning customers and is only available over the holidays. So if you've been listening to Angry Chicken for 2 years now, which I believe is how long Harry's has been supporting this podcast.
Yeah,
and
they've been with us for a long time now.
Yeah, and you've already used one of our codes. This applies to you. So if you would like to go gift someone a Harry's gift set, you can get $5 off by going to harrys.com/TAC. Each Harry's shaving set, by the way, comes with the ergonomic weighted handle with an option to engrave. You can engrave it. You can do that. It also comes with the German-engineered 5-blade cartridges that provide a close, comfortable shave, foaming shave gel for a rich lather, a travel cover to protect your blades. I'll be using that very soon to pack, and that handsome holiday gift box. So also, if you want it for yourself, you can just redeem a Harry's trial offer to experience the quality shave before you commit. So
treat yourself,
Exactly, and shave yourself. I mean, that's kind of weird, but also something you need to do from time to time.
I consider when I'm shaving myself that I am treating myself, especially when I'm using a Harry's razor because it's nice.
I'm not saying that's weird. The act of shaving is weird. I'm saying me telling our listeners, shave yourself.
Yeah. Hey, everybody out there, shave. Well, we've been doing it for 2 years. We've been telling everyone to shave themselves.
We have, and you will like it from Harry's. So, anyways, get your holiday shopping done early. Free shipping ends on December 12th, so you need to act now. Go to harrys.com/TAC to get $5 off a shave set while supplies last. Once again, that's harrys.com/TAC. And now we're gonna move right back into cards and move on down to what I thought was going to be the only 3 cards we were going to talk about today, Dills.
Yeah. These were enough too. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on here.
Only 2. Surrender to Madness was unveiled at BlizzCon. Had me actually very excited because the whole Shadow Priests losing their minds as a lore thing in Warcraft. I like that aesthetic, and I'd like to see more of it. So I was very excited to see Surrender to Madness in here. But we got to see the Spirit and the Loa for priests, which this was funny. I last week saw it through tweets, and I saw Bwansamdi first by himself, and I didn't see the Spirit, and I just put out a tweet that just said, and immediately some fine followers were just like, hey, dude, no, here's the Spirit. Just check it out. And I'm like, oh, this makes a lot more sense. So let's start with the Spirit. Sure. It's called Spirit of the Dead. It's a 1-mana 0/3 rare priest minion with stealth for 1 turn, as all spirits have. But after a friendly minion dies, shuffle a 1-cost copy of it into your deck.
Yeah, so you can make more expensive minions cost 1 and get extra copies of them. That being said, when I look at this card, I'm not 100% convinced that it's going to be all that easy. to kill a whole bunch of big, strong minions and turn them into 1-cost minions, right?
It does seem a little clunky in Priest, the class whose hero power is to keep your own stuff alive.
Sure, but I mean, I think a lot of people are looking at this and thinking Malagos and Velen, and then I combo you down, right? Because you get those to die, and then they cost 1, and you can play them with Mind Blast and stuff. But if you don't have a long amount of time to get your 4/12 and your 7/7 to just die while this is on the board, right? Timing that is pretty difficult. So, yeah, that's a little bit tricky. You can't necessarily 100% combo this with a cloning gallery, because while sometimes cloning gallery will also produce this, which means if your opponent kills them off, you will just get all those things. You would have to then play exactly specifically those minions, right? So I mean, there's things you can do, because this would be one of the minions that would come out with cloning gallery, right? And then if they killed any of the other stuff, then those would all come back as ones. But if you AoE the board, I'm assuming that they don't come back as ones, because generally, if you AoE the board, they all die together, not like they died while this was in play. Like, this is after, right?
Oh,
so this would have to also be on board.
So wait, is your question if Spirit dies along with the board?
At the same time, yeah. I'm pretty sure you don't then shuffle a bunch of 1-cost cards of everything that died along with it. Because it says after. If it said whenever, then yes.
I would yes. Yeah. The way Hearthstone has been programmed in the past, it's not always 100%. But yes, it does say after. So
to me, like, I look at it, I know a lot of people are instantly like, holy crap, this is going to be super busted. I'm like, I think this is going to be pretty fair, but it's also going to make a very cool deck,
Yeah, I mean, this is...
because the difficulty of doing this is hard.
This is a build-around card, especially when combined with Bwansamdi. We haven't said what he does. So Bwansamdi...
We should say that.
Bwansamdi is the Loa for Priest, so he's a 7-mana, 7/7 legendary Priest minion with a battle cry that reads, draw 1-cost minions from your deck until your hand is full.
Yeah.
So if you have spent the game generating 1-cost copies of minions that die through the Spirit of the Dead, you play Bwansamdi. Yeah, fill your hand with affordable cards to deploy. And you're not going to have to worry about milling yourself as long as you have 8 mana.
Sure, and play one more, yeah. But also, so it's going to draw them until you're out of them, too, right? So it's either you're going to fill your hand or you're going to run out of these 1-cost minions. So let's say you've made like 4 of them, you'll draw 4 of them. So you can kind of you can plan out exactly how Bwansamdi is going to affect your hand. And yeah, so this is the thing. This is the reason to use Spirit of the Dead to make all these things, is that eventually you then get them all back and then can use them for some disgusting combo. But like I said, making that all happen is going to be tricky. And there are going to be some games where you're not going to be able to pull it off. You're going to be able to pull off like step 1 and 2, right? Which is Spirit of the Dead, get them to die, turn them into 1-cost cards, play Bwansamdi, get them all back. If you can't get those 2 things to happen, you're going to need some sort of backup plan. So to me, it's like a piece. It's like, if you can do this, then you can make a sick combo happen. If you can't, you got to have some other way to make that sick combo happen. So that to me makes the deck potentially unreliable, but super, super fun. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna can you fill the deck with very specific minions that you want 1-cost copies of, and then the rest of it with spells? That's where my brain immediately goes with this.
Because even if you are talking about using cloning gallery to make this happen, in a situation where they don't just instantly AoE down your cloning gallery, that's a really slow deck. And we have seen, obviously, the cloning gallery deck be a thing, but it does sometimes just get rushed down real quick. And so if you're talking about, okay, now I need to have that happen on turn 9, then now down the line, then I play Bwansamdi, and then I have 3 mana remaining, so I have to wait for one more turn at least, probably, to do some crazy damage combo. It's like, we're talking a real slow deck. So
yeah, any meta, I think, before now, I would probably write this off. But pretty damn slow decks have found a foothold in this meta.
Yeah, I mean, Mecha'thun has done stuff. So
right, yeah,
the
exactly,
slowest of slow.
Exactly, and I mean, this is even more. But and even calling from last week, one of the interviews where they were the developers were bringing up, hey, we haven't changed Druid, but is Druid keeping aggro in check? And I think to a certain degree, yes, it is. And they still haven't changed it, and it's probably going to be the same when Rastakhan drops, unless something insane happens.
Yeah.
So I have hope for this. There's just not a combo that jumps immediately to mind.
I mean, the combo that jumps to mind for me is just the Velen Malagos thing, right? Because you do that and then you shoot people with 20 damage Mind Blasts. So that's the way that they've been doing it. That seems like how they'll probably keep doing it. And we'll see if there's other crazy cards that come out in this set that offer some combo potential.
Yeah, again, and then what's your combo? I guess getting Velen in your hand with Spirit
getting a 1-cost Velen and a 1-cost Malagos, and then making multiple copies of Mind Blast with the 2-cost spell that finds a copy, right?
Yeah,
so
I'm just trying to think of how you guarantee that they die and aren't shapeshifted. So I guess you're also looking for your own Shadow Word Deaths to Shadow Word Death your own minions?
You can Shadow Word Death your own Velen, but you can't do anything to the Malagos because it's a 4-attack minion. So
that's right, yeah.
Yeah. But then, like, right now they're doing it with just Spellstone and stuff. You know what I mean? So, like, they're already doing it now. This is just another way to do it. So it's like you've got the Spellstones. Now you've also got the Bwansamdi with the Spirit. You've got like more ways to do it. That's the thing is though. It's like the deck is kind of jam packed with important cards. So I don't know what comes out to put this in. You know what I mean?
That is the question. Yeah, this is one that I think requires. This is the first big, needs to be tested. Like we just need to play with it.
I'm definitely gonna go. I'm definitely gonna give it a go for sure. Seems very fun.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. Like Priest needs something like an equality or something like that. Like they just kill off all their own stuff. What if you could play a couple big minions and the next turn you like Spirit of the Dead and equality and then you shoot them with stuff. I don't know. There's interesting things to think about with this, and I'm very curious to build this deck. I think it'd be fun.
Hachikumo in the chat room brings up a good point, which I hadn't considered, which is with another Spirit of the Dead, you could bring back your own Bwansamdi.
True. Yeah. Original Bwansamdi could draw another Bwansamdi.
Which you would want because you wouldn't get the battle cry if you just resurrected him.
Yeah. Rezzing Bwansamdi is not very good.
No. Well, I mean 7/7's fine, but
sure. Yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, you want to res things with spell power and doubling of damage.
Yep. Maybe it just plays to some kind of ongoing resurrect copy priest, which would also be interesting.
Yeah. I could also see this if you played some sort of a quest death rattle heavy thing, and then at a certain point, you heal to 40, but then maybe like run out of stuff, and then this Bwansamdi just makes you able to get a bunch more stuff and just keep going. There's that kind of thing too, like a longevity type plan.
Yeah. Oh man, long games of Hearthstone in the future for trying to make this priest deck work. All right, the more we talk about it, I'm very excited. I love this effect. Anything that's it's not quite a graveyard effect, but anything of copying minions, anything to do with minion deaths being a good thing, I love it in card games. So I am on board for this. By the way, before we move on, Leet357 in the chat room says, FYI, as a non-WoW player, I thought you guys were excited about some dude named Bob Zombie, which I really like. Rob Zombie's less successful cousin. So no new road cards. Let's get down to Shaman for Zentimo. This appears to be, I don't know of any Loa named Zentimo, so I'm going to assume this is the Shaman champion. So this is a 3-mana 1/3 legendary minion for Shaman that reads, whenever you target a minion with a spell, it also targets adjacent ones.
So this is interesting because right now, outside of like Hex, Shaman aren't running a lot of direct target spells. Like mostly you're seeing things like volcanoes and healing rains and stuff like that, and then Hex is kind of the only thing. Like you're not seeing lightning bolts very often. You're not seeing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there is a elemental shaman that's kind of making waves that's running lightning bolt.
Sure.
But it's definitely not the most popular archetype. Not even, I would say, maybe the top 3 most popular shaman archetypes right now.
So the the best applications I could see right now would be those direct damage type spells in Hex if you're using them offense or I guess defensively. But it's interesting to think about unstable evolution and evolve 2 minions at a time or potentially 3 minions at a time, right?
Yeah. No.
As long as this thing is on the board, you'd have to have this plus 3 other minions because you don't want to evolve this, right? So because then you lose that effect. But yeah, you could make 3 gigantic minions pretty easily with a Zentimo and an unstable evolution. That could be cool.
Yeah. Earthen Might would be interesting.
Oh yeah. There you go. Buff cards. Yeah.
Again, I'm pulling from Elemental Shaman because it's the only one that really kind of uses these targeted spells. It's also running Zap, so it's running Zap. It's running Lightning Bolt. It's running Earthen Might. I think that's it as far as targeted spells, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just
Larman in chat says Wind Fury, but then you have to run Wind Fury.
that is true. Though, at least for a fun factor, that's I don't think that's going to take the standard ladder climb by storm. But. No,
I remember though back in the day when I played that tournament and I got to the finals and I played against Chalky. Chalky's deck was a combo Shaman with Leroy, Wind Fury, and Rock Biters, and that was the combo. Was to play Leroy,
this would be
give him Rock Biters, and then make him Wind Fury you. Yeah,
actually, yeah. So this is the kind of card that makes me think of trying a new archetype.
Yeah, I mean this I think Zentimo makes some interesting combos possible. Right. So it's a very interesting card. I like it. And I like the fact that it's persistent effect. Like it doesn't say the next spell, right? It just says whenever you target a minion with a spell. So this thing is also going to be like kind of a must kill, right? If it's on the board.
Yeah, which isn't hard to do, but it's also only 3 mana, so it's very easy to combo this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can play this along with other stuff. What if you could do like a Snow Fury Giant deck where then you get like the Snow Fury Giants and then you play the Spellstone to make more of them because you get them down to 0 and then you can like Wind Fury a bunch of giants, you know? That could be interesting.
That would be interesting.
I can see that.
Oh my god. What about the old school and what is it? Is it Ancestral Spirit? Yeah, Ancestral Spirit.
Like no, yeah, there you go. Make them all come back to life. Yeah.
What if we go back to some
There's
crazy
stuff. Yeah.
Like crazy greedy elemental shamans with Ancestral Spirit? That would be interesting. So yeah, I like this card because it makes me start thinking about new ways to play, which I think all the cards we have done so far have done that. But this is just a single card. Everything else we've talked about so far has been some type of like Loa combo, or whatnot. So,
yeah. I mean, if you get the giants down to 0, you play this. You target a giant with a Spellstone. That gives you because then that gives you 6 copies of the giants. All right. Holy crap.
In theory, yeah, it should. I mean,
and then if he's still around, then you give him all Wind Fury pretty easily. But even if you don't give him Wind Fury, you just have 6 giants. I think you're good.
Yeah, I think you're okay.
Yeah.
Against you would really stink in that it would be the Quality Consecrate is actually back because of even Paladin and any warrior right now running Brawl and whatnot. But
yeah, no, there's ways to counter that for sure. But
it
makes you start thinking of stuff. The thing is, it's a legendary. You can only run one, so if it doesn't work the first time, then and your game plan is built around that, you probably lose. So
yeah, that's where
it seems like it's probably just going to be mostly in like fun decks with crazy combos that sometimes get there and you laugh hysterically while you do it. But we'll see.
I would like to just try a token shaman and that puts Rockbiter in. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Actually, I think Infrarogue brings up an interesting point. It actually wouldn't give you 6 giants. It would give you. You'd have to play 2 giants and then do those next to each other.
Oh,
if it was just Zentimo and 1 giant, you would get 3 Zentimos, 3 giants. Yeah.
That's right.
Interesting.
Yeah. You would need multiple giants on board at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I'm thinking Token Shaman already works pretty damn well, already whittles people down. Why not have Zentimo and 2 Rock Fighters in your deck as some burst potential?
Exactly. It's like a little mini Bloodlust, and you don't have to like win or not with it because you're still just playing as Zentimo. So then even if you don't kill them that turn, his Intimo's on the board, then they still have to deal with that. So
And also Rockbiter is not a dead card, whereas Bloodlust can be.
yeah, sure.
You can always use a Rockbiter in a pinch. So it's interesting. There's some stuff here. I like Zentimo.
Yeah, cool card.
I want to try something with Ancestral Spirit now.
I'm definitely going to make some crazy shaman things with this. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you ready for some neutrals?
Yeah.
Let's get down to neutrals. Going past the warrior. No new warrior cards. No new
There's
warlock
some
cards.
interesting ones here.
Yeah. So we've got our first look at a neutral legendary, and it's Undasta, the giant, crazy armored Tyrannosaurus Rex, or Devilsaur, as they call them in Warcraft. It's a 9 mana, 7/7 legendary neutral beast with rush, but it also has overkill, and overkill reads summon a beast from your hand.
So should be fairly easy to get the overkill to activate.
Well,
So
yeah.
it should be fairly easy to get a beast from your hand out.
So Undasta into King Crush.
I mean, that's the first place your head goes, right?
Well,
You play this in Hunter, and because like if you play, Katharina, Death Rattle Hunter, and you draw your King Crush, you feel real sad. Well, here's a way to get that King Crush out now. Although if you play that, also Undasta is just good in that deck, because if you get Undasta out and then you get Undasta off of the Katharina or something like that, you get a 7/7 with a rush that then pulls another beast from your hand. So it's like instant board creation. Yeah, but also I'm thinking Druid now with their new Druid beast card, Ironhide Direhorn. Get that beast out onto the board. It just seems like if you can get one decent beast out, Undasta pays for itself pretty well. So, and the fact that it has rush means it's fairly easy to get that overkill. I think this is good. I think this is a really good card. We're going to see some Undasta decks.
Yeah, I think it needs to pull a relatively large beast to still feel good, because 9 mana is your turn.
Well, okay, imagine it is your turn. Yeah, but imagine a 7/7 beast with rush that didn't do anything else. You'd just play that probably. So yeah, and then there's enough neutral beasts now that I think a lot of classes will be able to utilize this. So yeah, I can think of all sorts of really interesting uses for this card, and I'm all for it, man. I think this is fantastic.
Oh my god, and for Rogue says free Shirvala and Paladin.
Free Shirvala,
That's,
sure.
Oh
There you
man,
go.
that's a... yeah, that would be kind of ridiculous. What other beast is Paladin running?
So apparently Crip is leaking some new cards. Great. More stuff to talk about on a short show.
Yeah, we're a little strapped for time because you got to get on a plane. But real quick, you know what? You want to skip Waterboy?
Well, Waterboy is basically a 0 mana 2/1, so I don't think there's many classes that really want that. Maybe you could play it in a Zoo Warlock once Keleseth is gone, because you can play it and tap for free.
There's a consideration for that. Yeah, so I guess we're talking about it. So Waterboy, 2 mana, 2/1, Battlecry, your next hero power this turn costs 0.
Yep. It basically just pays for the Waterboy itself.
Yeah. So
if you were already going to hero power, you also can throw a 2/1 in the mix. But I doubt that is good enough to go in any constructed decks.
Yeah. He's so cute, though.
Sure.
Little
He's adorable.
Little Hearthstone squeeze bottles of water. It's great.
Yeah.
And then
Wants to help.
this is the card we have to talk about on the show, and
Yes.
would have been nice if we could have revealed it on the show. Little jab there. Why didn't we get to reveal this card? Gurubashi Chicken is a 1 mana 1/1 common neutral beast. Overkill, gain +5 attack.
Yeah. So
This is the new age of the Angry Chicken.
yeah, this is the new Angry Chicken, but he's not angry. He's just a little brawler.
He has an axe for a beak.
Sure. All I really think about this card is I just think you're going to get this as an option on Rexar cards. You're never going to play this card, but sometimes it'll show up on a Rexar thing, and you'll get something with like Rush or something like that, and then you'll kill something, and then you'll get a +5 in Rage on it. So that's cool.
Yeah. I'm going to refresh Hearthstone's guide here and see if any new cards have popped up, which would make my life very easy rather than
Yeah, there you
trying
go.
to...
Boom.
Oh, holy hell. Look at these Warlock cards. There's so many cards still.
I know.
All right.
We got a Priest Loa, or a Warlock Loa.
That's Hyreek. That's already been revealed.
Oh, wait, yeah, you're right. So this is the champion.
Their champion is brand
Yes.
new. So we now know the Warlock champion. It's called High Priestess Jeklik. It's a 4-mana, 3/4 legendary Warlock minion with taunt, lifesteal, and reads whenever you discard this, add 2 copies of it to your hand.
Huh.
So going back into the discard Warlock direction.
Sure, sure. Which we haven't seen be useful at all. But even if you're just playing just Doomguards or something like that, this could give you a little bit of a Doomguard, price reduction. Where if you have this in your hand and you can just play the Doomguard without worrying about discarding this because you just get 2 more of them.
Yeah.
A 4-mana 3/4 with taunt and lifesteal, is that a good card though? Is that a card you want more of? I don't know. I'm not so sure.
I don't know either.
I think a 4-mana 3/5 Taz Dingo is probably better, and we'll just check that lifesteal out. But yeah, maybe.
But if you get to keep making them, there's a consideration there. Also, there's another new card that was unveiled called Guardian of Souls, which is a 6-mana 6/6 epic Warlock minion with a battle cry that reads: add 3 random cards you discarded this game to your hand. So they're not actually that random.
I guess we're going back into this, huh? Discard Warlock.
I want it to be a thing, Dills.
Well, maybe this is enough tools now. Some of them have rotated, though, right? I think some of them are.
There are
a lot that are still there, though.
And again, just to reiterate, if you at home you're just like, why wasn't this prepared better? It's because these cards were just revealed as we're doing the show. There's also another new card in here, Dills, called Reckless Fluff.
Okay.
That has got to be a placeholder name, because Fluffy Wasp was a placeholder name. So Reckless something, most likely, is a 3-mana 2/6 common Warlock minion with taunt and a battle cry that reads: discard your lowest cost card.
So, all right, well, this is kind of cool because it's targeted discard. So
yeah,
that I like.
And then there's also, oh my god, there's also Screech.
And you get a powerful minion to back it up, right? So
yeah, so a 2/6 for 3, and you know what you're discarding.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid. Also, Screech is a 1-mana rare Warlock spell that reads: discard your lowest cost card, deal 2 damage to all minions.
All right, so that's solid AoE, especially for early game for dealing with aggro, which I think is the problem for a discard Warlock. It takes so damn long to get to like your quest and things like that, and the cards that make the discarding worth it. That you need ways to not die while you're doing all that. So yeah. Dealing 2 damage to all minions is good. And again, targeted discard, so you know exactly what's going away.
Also, there's something interesting with Screech in that it is 1 mana. So
It would discard the other Screech, or Reckless Fluff would discard it.
What if you play Reckless Fluff, it discards Screech, you play Guardian of Souls, it adds 3 Screeches to your hand, you're basically just discarding a Screech, so Screech is essentially having no downside to the 2 damage Wrath effect.
The Screech is definitely coming back. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going down this route, you probably have other discard effects. It's probably not only Screech in the discard pool, but it's an interesting thing of note that Screech kind of becomes this targeted discard with a card like Reckless, whatever it ends up being called.
So how many cards are left in Warlock? 3?
3 cards. We've actually
So there's a lot of cards that are dedicated to this.
Everyone else, yeah, we've seen more
discard
Warlock
synergy.
We have seen more Warlock cards than any other class.
I think there's one more Warrior card was the only other card that was posted on his Twitter. So, look, this might be enough discard synergy. So it's worth a go. It's worth a try. We'll see if it works. Again, though, like the big payoff needs to be a big payoff. And I've actually found that the portal sometimes is not as big of a payoff as you want it to be. So we'll see if things like Guardian of Souls and stuff are enough of a payoff to warrant playing this deck. Chat
room brings up a good question that I do not have the answer to in regards to Guardian of Souls as well. If you say hypothetically you play Guardian of Souls, there's only one. You've only discarded 1 card all game. Do you get 3 copies of that same card?
I don't think so. I think you would just get the 1 because you've only discarded 1.
The random is what calls it into question for me.
Yeah, I guess.
If it just said add 3 cards you discarded.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it might give you 3 of the same. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. If that's the case, that might just be worth it without running like a discard deck. You run like a couple of important discard cards, right?
Yeah.
Because imagine if you ran, just things like Doomguard and Soulfire, and then you just have Guardian of Souls just to kind of get back some of the interesting important cards. Yeah, it doesn't say copies though, so that to me just means no. It's like the actual card that was discarded comes back.
Yeah.
Not a copy of it. So
I
feel like no, but we'll see.
I may be typing a message right now just to see if we get an
All
answer
right.
before we end the show. So
Sure.
pardon my typing.
So I do see one new warrior card as well. Smolderthorn Lancer. I don't know if that already showed up in the Hearthstone.
I don't believe so. Yeah, that is a new card. So Smolderthorn.
No, it's right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there. So Smolderthorn Lancer is a 3-mana 3/2 epic warrior minion with a battle cry that reads, if you're holding a dragon, destroy a damaged enemy minion.
So for 1 mana more than an execute, you get
A 3/2
you get a 3/2.
and an execute.
Yeah, and also
But you need to be holding a dragon.
play execute an odd warrior again. So that's of note.
If you're
holding a dragon, you also have to be playing some
You have
dragons.
to be playing some dragons. So is odd
Yeah.
dragon warrior a consideration?
Possibly, I can see that. There's some good odd cost dragons,
All right. And since I am
Play like Ysera, play Alexstrasza, that kind of stuff,
all right, now let's get a little personal. I never want to talk about odd warrior again. Do we consider just dragon warrior?
Yeah, no, also, yeah, maybe there's just obviously this is a control tool, so gives you a control tool, and maybe, yeah, you throw out the odd part, and you're just now playing dragons. It's the old version of Dragon Warrior was a very tempo-based Dragon Warrior deck. It was a little bit more on the aggressive side. This being a control tool, we'll see. I don't even know if this goes into no one's playing the wild version of Dragon Warrior anymore. I don't even know if you'd put this in, though, because, again, it's not an offensive tool. It's more of a defensive tool, so. And we'll have to see more cards. Again, Warrior only has 3 out, so
Yeah,
we'll have to see if they get some really cool dragon or something like that.
Still pretty
that enables
unknown.
this.
But that's actually, I was going to compliment it, going back to Warlock and just thinking about everything else we've talked about today. So today's episode, again, we did it early because Thanksgiving's coming up. A lot of these cards were announced as we're recording this episode, so it was kind of off the cuff. But all of these cards kind of fit together. Like that
Yes.
Warlock conversation we just had about High Priestess, Jeklik, and the 3 other cards that tie in very obviously, that was really easy for us to have.
Yeah.
I like this reveal type. This made the conversation very interesting.
Give us chunks, right? Give us packages.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Smolderthorn Lancer tie in with other dragon cards, is what I'm saying.
I would be surprised if it did not. Yeah.
Yeah, because going back to Jeklik, Guardian of Souls was an epic rarity that ties directly in with what Jeklik is trying to do. So maybe Smolderthorn Lancer is an epic that ties in with what their champion is trying to do.
Yeah.
We just haven't seen the warrior champion yet.
We have seen in the past a couple of times where they give us 1 or 2 dragon synergy cards, but those were during rotations when a lot of the dragon stuff was already there, and it was just here's a couple more things to add into that. Right now, there's only Dragon Priest, and even that's not really played very much. That can kind of control one with Dust Breakers and stuff, and they only run a few. So if you're gonna make Warrior have Dragon synergy, you probably need to give them a lot to make it actually possible. So
Yeah.
I would expect to see more of it.
Yep. Well, Dills, I think we've talked about every card that's been revealed so far, at least that has been
Yes.
categorized easily for us to display and talk about on the show. So let's thank our second sponsor today before we start to bring it home, and that is MeUndies. MeUndies is back.
MeUndies.
Yeah. Listen, this is the year. This is the year, everybody. You can finally tackle your holiday shopping early. And guess what? You can get everything you need for you and your loved ones at MeUndies. And might I recommend MeUndies.com/TAC specifically because you'll get 15% off your first pair, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Dills, I know you got some MeUndies pajamas, and I just got some.
Yeah, they're amazing. Every single product they've sent me has been amazing. And what's funny is the older you get, the more you like getting things like socks, underwear, and pajamas for Christmas. Like when I was younger, I was like, I can't put this in my Super Nintendo. I don't like it. But now as I get older, anytime someone gives me socks, underwear, or pajamas, I'm so excited And if they were MeUndies, I'd be even more excited because I know they'd be the best and the dopest versions of those things. So
I'm with you. I will wear those things until they disintegrate. I do not.
But they don't. They don't. They last, man.
Oh yeah.
I went to Vegas and it was funny because I think I had 4 or 5 pairs of MeUndies with me, and unfortunately, the Vegas trip was like 7 days, so the last 2 days I had to wear non-MeUndies. The worst 2 days of my entire trip.
I'm so sorry. I actually got mad. I had a wedding this past weekend. One of my good friends, known the guy since I was 3 years old, finally got hitched. We're out at his wedding. They have like an after party at the hotel everybody's staying at. We're not staying at that hotel, Dills, but we went to continue partying. Everyone else stayed at that hotel. You know what they did? They went up to the room, they put on their pajamas, they came back down to the hotel bar and continued partying. I had to stay in my 3-piece suit.
No.
And I just raised my fist to the, ceiling, not the sky. We were indoors and just yelled, I want my MeUndies. I actually did this as a joke because Katie knows what I'm talking about, but then everyone else was like, what? And
Everyone was super confused.
well, one person was like, he does podcasts, and everyone was like, oh.
Now we get it.
Yeah.
You know, that is funny when I tell people that MeUndies is one of our sponsors. They go, "Oh, your podcast must be doing pretty well."
Yeah, I love
so
that.
you're like a real podcast. You get MeUndies sponsorship.
It's a prestige thing. Yeah. You get the.
That's the designation between real podcast and hobby. Does MeUndies sponsor you?
Yep, that's it. Yeah. Oh, you have MeUndies as a sponsor. My bad. I'm sorry. I thought you were just another run-of-the-mill podcast.
Oh, then you're like Joe Rogan. Yeah. Okay.
To which I have to immediately pump the brakes and say, no, not that big. Not that
like
big.
that.
Not on that level. But I legitimately love my MeUndies. They do make a great gift. I am compiling a list of MeUndies recipients for this holiday. You don't know who you are out there. Family members that don't listen to this podcast.
Some surprise undies coming your way.
But yeah, and they've got holiday prints. They're super fun. If Jocelyn was here, I'm sure she'd be raving about the holiday prints, but they were really great. So go over to MeUndies.com/TAC, take a look at them. And if you like it, just by going to that link, you get 15% off your first pair, you get free shipping, you get 100% satisfaction guarantee. Go check them out. We thank them for their support, and we thank you for going to MeUndies.com/TAC. Now, Dills, we have a Merlok Mage to talk about. So let's get into this week's strategy.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
And, we talked about how there's a realistic world where slow decks can exist because of the meta that we're currently in, but that does not mean that the meta we're currently in has a void of hyper-aggressive decks. And we're going to talk about what I think might be the most aggressive deck I've seen this standard year today.
Yeah.
Which is Murloc Mage. We weren't sure what was going to happen with the Mage nerf to Mana Worm. I didn't see Murloc Mage coming, but it is here, and it is real.
So it's not the first time we've seen a Murloc Mage. It just was outclassed and outshined by the power that is the Mana Worm for a while. You know, your one drop in this deck, your best one drop in this deck, is simply a 1/2 that grows, not a 1/3 that grows. So, yeah, that's not as good. But now without the ability to play a 1-drop 1/3 that grows, it's only a 1-drop 1/2 that grows seems really freaking good. This also has the absolute gross opener that you get sometimes, which is when you draw your Murloc Tidecaller into your Rockpool Hunter, and you turn that 1/2 into a 3/3 on turn 2, and you just start smashing face. And sometimes you do that, and then you Cold Light Seer on 3, and then on turn 4 you Megasaur, and everything gets Wind Fury. It's just, this deck can have absolute disgusting openers that just end the game by turn 3 or 4. I've had tons and tons of people. I've had people where I drop the first Murloc and they concede because they realize they don't have early removal, and they know what's about to happen. It's about to snowball out of control.
I mean, if you've seen it before, you know exactly how it can go.
Mm-hmm.
That
being said, it also does have some drawbacks, because if your board gets wiped once, you just have no way to get back on the board. So there's some fairness to this deck.
I would argue that there are scenarios that can occur albeit rare, that you can still get back on board, but you probably have to have Aluneth already equipped.
Yeah, so Alaneth is actually a card. So basically the deck plays out very aggressive. Just start dumping your Murlocs onto the board. If you can make some value trades early, I generally like to go for that just to try to get the most attacks out of my Murlocs I can. But the idea of the deck is basically get some damage in from your early Murlocs, and then you draw into Fireballs and Frostbolts, and you just blast them in the face, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the way the deck operates. There's a couple of interesting things about this deck, though, is because it is such a hyper-aggressive deck, a lot of times you dump your entire hand. That's why a card like Alaneth is really good. I have found in this deck, though, that sometimes the Alaneth is a drawback more than it, say, was in the deck with tons and tons of burn, right?
And then
because in that deck, you kind of know you're going to draw a bunch of burn. Sometimes I draw the Alaneth, I take a turn off, a 6-mana turn off of doing anything, right? And then the next turn, they continue to develop, and then on my turn 7, I basically just drop a bunch of Murlocs into an existing board that they can then now decide how to trade into, right? So that's what I mean about, like, it's hard to get back onto the board. Yes, you can put more Murlocs onto the board, but your opponent then gets a chance to kind of trade into them the way they choose. So, you know, once you kind of lose it once, it's really hard to get that pace back and make them actually threaten to hit face. You know?
You kind of... The only scenario where it really happens is they don't have a follow-up to their follow-up. So they wipe your board, and then they've kind of just got a dead hand from that point on. It can happen with Druid. They could just be sitting on a bunch of ramp. But it's a very rare scenario. So yeah, Alaneth does, like, if you're having to Alaneth, you're either already winning and Alaneth is irrelevant, or if you're not already winning and you Alaneth, you're probably losing that game. Which, since we're looking at this at HS Replay, you look at the played win rate of Alaneth, it's not great.
Yeah, so Alaneth is kind of there to, like, so if you've drawn a bunch of Murlocs, you got some of the damage in, you just need to get a little more. You need to find those Fireballs. You play Alaneth, you probably find your Fireballs in 1 or 2 more turns, right? So that's kind of its purpose in the deck. It's an interesting card in this deck, though, that I wonder if there was some more reliable draw options, would you even play this card, right? The problem is the reliable draw options in this deck are things like Book of Specters, which I removed one of and put in a Stargazer Luna because I found that oftentimes I would be playing, like, I wouldn't play Book of Specters early on. It was one of those cards you play later. And sometimes by then I'm just looking for the Fireballs, and Book of Specters is not a card I can use to find them, because if I do, I discard them.
Yeah, it is the ultimate feel bad card in this deck. It is. I call it. It's the break glass in case of emergency. It's the only reason you should be using this card is if you have no other hope of winning the game. If you just need more Murlocs, or this game isn't going to happen. But if it's any other scenario, which is basically I need burn, this is the worst card in the world. I hate it.
Doesn't work. Yeah. You literally throw the burn away. So I'm also hesitant to think that this card is better than maybe a Primordial Glyph or something like that, where I could just discover some burn. You know what I mean? Because I also feel like I don't ever want to keep this card in my opening hand. I was looking at it, and it has like a good win rate in your mulligan, which is weird to me because I feel like I'd rather just have a 2-cost Murloc there in that slot than a Book of Specters, right, in the early game. I want to be playing a Murloc on 1, 2, and 3 every single time. So I don't want to be playing Murloc on 1 and Book of Spectering on turn 2, and then, taking a turn off to draw.
Well, if you look,
I want to be push early, and then Book of Specters sometimes you draw into, and then you can play late. But in those scenarios, I find that drawing much more Murlocs doesn't oftentimes win me the game. So would I rather just have a way to find burn? So I'm like kind of, I'm not on the up and up with the Book of Specters in this deck. I feel like it's got replacements.
I like it as a turn 4 play if I don't have my Megasaur. That's where I really like Spectre. It's
a cheaper reload to then continue to push in those mid turns.
Yeah, and also with a coin, I don't mind it on turn 3 because if I don't have a follow up to keep my Murloc train going, I can almost always reliably have something for 2 mana or 2 Murlocs for 1 mana to drop and continue building up my Tidecaller.
I just feel like I just never want to take a turn off with this deck, and Alaneth and Book of Specters are the the cards that represent essentially turns off to me, right? So
yeah, no, I'm with you. They definitely do not feel good, but there's also so few options. You're bringing me around the primordial glyph though, but I have found myself in rare situations where a book of specters on 3 or 4, coin or no coin, let me keep the train going.
I talked a bunch of crap about it one time, like right on stream, and then I played it, and then it found me my war leader, which allowed me to then win the game. So I mean, there's times where I was like, okay, it did work, but I found that over the course, I probably played about 50 games with this deck now, recorded on HS Replay and my deck tracker and stuff, and I almost just felt like I never even played that card. I never even pushed that button. I just kind of, sometimes it'd be in my hand, sometimes it wouldn't, but most of the time it didn't factor into my game plan at all. So, it's just, to me, it's like if there's a card that's like maybe iffy in the deck, it's probably that one. But that being said, I had a great win rate with this deck. There's some classes and archetypes that it absolutely crushes. Death Rattle Hunter, Druid, and Evenlock. You just kind of, like Druid is like, I'm ramping. You're like, I don't care. I'm killing you. And Evenlock is like, I'm tapping. You're like, yeah, I know. I'm killing you. Thanks for hurting yourself as well. And then obviously, Death Rattle Hunter they could have some disgusting draws, but most of the time their game plan doesn't really start until like turn 4 or 5, right? So by the time that comes around, you've done a lot of damage to them, and that's kind of why this deck can shine.
Yeah, I opened with a disgusting win rate with this deck. I think it was over 75% for my first 2 nights playing this deck, and it was 15 game nights. So I had 30 out of 30 games. I think I had like a 75% win rate.
Yeah,
close to it.
It's cruising, right?
And then day 3, I am all the way down to a 60% win rate now, which is still high. But that day 3 was just like loss after loss, just bringing that number down.
Yeah. That's kind of like variance kind of coming back in line, though. You know what I mean? Because the deck should probably have like a 55-ish. 57-ish% win rate, even at its top end.
Yeah.
So
it just, at times it can feel like an elaborate coin flip. And that's when you start to, at least I start to feel down on the deck, and I'm like, all right, back to even Paladin, where I have options and I don't have one draw that wins me the game, and most other draws are an uphill battle.
Yeah. I have found, though, that the more I play with the deck, the more nuance I found in it. It's very important how you order your Murloc draws or drops. Like there's times where you'll have 3 mana and you can do 3 different ways of playing Murlocs out, and there's one correct one or one higher percentage to win one than the others, and this is not obvious. So I did find that there was a lot of interesting factors that were not there to me immediately, right? Like I learned and learned and learned the more I played the deck, and I think it's I think aggro gets a bad rap as like easy mode, but it really isn't. There's a lot going on, and if you don't kind of play it out perfectly, you lose a lot of games that you could have given yourself a chance to win. So I encourage people to give this a try, and don't just sit back and spam the Murlocs. Like, think about how you're going to play them out, and think about what your outs are and how you're going to get to, like, say, your Fireball Frostbolt finisher. So,
yep. At the same time,
I will say it struggles real bad against Odd Paladin, Odd Rogue. So I think that, like, I'm right now currently at rank 3, and I'm running into a lot of those because people are just trying to make the push into Legend. So they're trying to play fast decks that they know will have positive win rates, and those are those decks. So it struggles against them. It punishes the heavier control and combo style decks, but it struggles against those because the 2 damage dagger just cleans up all your freaking Murlocs pretty much, and the 1/1s overwhelm you because they're playing 2 minions a turn and you're playing 1 minion a turn most of the time,
and their minions trade with a large majority of your Murlocs.
Yeah, they end up just kind of over time, like they outvalue you with the 1/1s. So
yeah.
Eventually it's like you can be ahead and then suddenly the tide turns in their favor.
I found the Argent Squires to be the biggest problem against freaking Odd Paladins. I was like, well, they're going to get a lot of value out of that. Damn.
Yeah, the Argent Squire and that 3-mana weapon, man. The friggin' give everything Divine Shield and then also kill one of your Murlocs.
Which is hilarious because I feel like I never get the Divine Shield. I always get to give my minions taunt.
Yeah, right? To give my minions taunt, what happens every friggin' time. I never get Purifiers or whatever
I had two in a row that had the Divine Shield, and I was playing Merlok Mage, and that was on day 3 when I started evening out my win rate, and I was like, oh, come on!
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's why I don't like cards like that, man, where it's like, 2 of these options shall win you the game. One of them shall lose it for you. And it's just out of your control.
Yeah.
It's also one of the reasons why I think I had a good time playing this deck is this deck feels like your decision-making is what matters more than anything else because there is not a lot of random effects here. The random effects are things like Book of Specters draws and Discover options from Primal Fin, but even those are pretty much good.
It reminds me of Odd Rogue in a certain way because Odd Rogue can run away with it if you find your Flappy Bird or you find your Hench Clan Thug and your opponent doesn't have an answer. And this deck feels that way with a 1-drop in the case of the Murloc Tidecaller. But if they don't have an answer for that, it can just run away with it. But that one God opening that you described, the Tidecaller into Rockpool Hunter aside, there's a lot of nuance to this deck.
Yeah, you're going to have to play it correctly because the times they do have an answer, which is fairly often, you will have to then continue to ask the questions in the proper order, right?
I think it's also a very good example, though, of why losing a potentially game-winning plan like Tidecaller into Rockpool Hunter, say they even have an answer for that, so often you still go on to win the game, and that's why I think this deck is such a good example of why altering your opponent's game plan, even if it loses you a key part of your plan, is still a positive in the overall game.
If they're answering and not developing, that's generally a good state for you to be in. So
yeah, exactly. So the last thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned was just talk about deck lists real fast, which is if you go to HS Replay right now and you look up the top, like the most popular, so the most games played version of Murloc Mage, you're going to find a version that has two Book of Specters and a Stargaze Luna, but no Spellbreaker. You and I talked a little bit before the show, and I really think it's a 1 Book of Specters, 1 Luna, 1 Spellbreaker. That's how I like this deck list.
And I'm actually gonna even try out messing with the deck list a little bit more. I think there's some cards, like I said, I might want to take out and put back in things like Cinderstorm and Arcane Missiles because sometimes I just want a little bit more damage that can go face, or that will shore up the odd Paladin matchup a little bit. But yeah, I think the double Book of Specters is bad, and I also think the single Spellbreaker is so damn good for getting your Murlocs to actually hit their damn face. Right? It's really important to your strategy that your Murlocs can hit their face.
You got to connect, and
1 taunt can just blow that strategy up for you. So, got to get through.
Yep. So play it. Tweet at us at TAC Podcast. Let us know how it goes. If you find more interesting tech decisions, I'm always interested in hearing about that.
Yeah.
So, and if you're a patron, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've started posting deck lists for the decks that we're going to talk about on the next week over at patreon.com/TAC. So it's another little added bonus for the patrons out there. They're not huge secrets, but just so you know, the exact deck list we're pulling from, we're posting it over there. And feel free, patrons, to drop us specific deck questions. So last week we put up Merlok Mage. If you looked at that and said, hey, I've got some thoughts about this, maybe it was about draw, maybe it was about something else, feel free to comment on that Patreon post, and we'll pull some good questions and add them to the show. But
so next week, this is not set in stone because there might be a lot of cards and there might not be time for a strategy segment. But the plan is, and we'll post this deck list in the Patreon, but I'll just go ahead and mention it to the chat today is probably this Death Rattle Rogue thing because there's some new takes on that deck right now. So
yeah, it's interesting. I'm very interested in it. I'm of two minds. I'd love to see new cards, but I also like talking about interesting decks, especially when the meta feels stale. It's very easy to think that the meta is stale when there's still a lot of decks I haven't even really taken out for a spin yet, and this is one of them.
Yeah, no, it's so I played a lot of this early on in this in the Boomsday meta. I thought it was pretty good. It kind of ran out of steam, but with the nerf to Giggling and the rise of Corpse Taker again, there's kind of a new version out there. So it's it's worth experimenting with again.
Yep. So patrons, keep an eye out for that link. And I think it's going to wrap the show up, Dills. You got to get on a plane. So we got to let you go.
I have to actually do one more show first, but I still need to like finish my packing. Make sure that I haven't even freaking showered today. So I got to shower and I got to get my Harry's razor out and shave, throw on me undies and
eat a HelloFresh. You want to just keep going down the line there?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff. Yeah, load up my away.com travel bag. Get the hell out of here.
It's great. Thanks again to our patrons, by the way. Thank you so much for supporting us. We've been getting quite a few new patrons this week, which means the world to us.
Cool.
You know, we've had this Patreon for a long time. It's not as high as it used to be. So every new patron that signs up, we really appreciate it. But also every patron that's been here for the long haul, whether you've been here since day one, whether you've started or stopped your pledge, it is Thank a Patron Day, Thank Your Patrons Day. As far as Patreon is concerned, they have a hashtag going. So we really just want to make sure and thank you for your support of the Angry Chicken, because you are the reason we were able to kind of stop doing the 9 to 5 and pursue this. So thank you. And if you want to support us, head on over to patreon.com/TAC. Two of our most recent patrons are Kyle R. and Simon T. That's Simon with an E, not no. Thank you very much for your support, you two. But yeah, just seeing all the tweets today, you all have really changed our lives. So thank you. But before we go, Dills, we also got to thank our producers. Thank you to Declan H. and Sean C. Y'all are crazy supportive. We're sad Joss couldn't be with us, but she was working DreamHack this weekend. She was down in Atlanta working that tournament, which was freaking cool to watch. I don't know about you. I curled up on the couch last night and watched the finals.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. It was it's like I said with the taco thing too when I was casting that, is like I think a lot of people are bored of the ladder meta, but the tournament meta is not boring at all. Very interesting, vibrant.
I feel for me it's almost crossed. I'm watching the tournament meta being like, these are good games, but I've seen these matchups before. But I'm very interested in playing right now. For me, I've kind of
cool.
It's kind of switched
It's
itself.
the ebb and flow of the Boomsday, huh?
Yes, that's a good way to put it. So I've really enjoyed the game after the nerfs.
Yeah, those were positive in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I just to put a cap on that, I think they were really healthy changes. But where can everybody find you, even over the whether it's the Thanksgiving break or not? Where can everybody find more Dills?
Well, check me out on Twitter. I'll be tweeting out, whether I'm traveling or not. You can generally rely on that happening. So twitter.com/WillieDills. But also, I will be trying to get at least off stream in while I'm there. It all kind of depend. I'll have a laptop with me, so it'll depend on how decent my internet is and if I can find a spot to do it that's not going to bother everybody. But twitch.tv/WillieDills is where you can watch those.
Awesome. I'm Garrett Art on Twitter, so if you want to hear the chronicle of me being a little stressed out because I'm in charge of the turkey this year, then go follow me there. Every podcast I do, including this one, is at amove.tv. Go check out my solo show, R2T2, which you can find by searching for R2-T2 wherever podcasts can be found. I recently did an episode about why I think the Diablo Immortal announcement was weird. Not that I think the game is bad, just that the announcement was strange. So if that piqued your interest, go and give that a listen. But that's going to wrap it up. You can follow Jocelyn at Joss Plays, and make sure and go check out the Gamers Inn as well for Jocelyn. But that's going to wrap it up. Thank you for listening to episode 290 of The Angry Chicken. I hope everybody that celebrates Thanksgiving has a great one. Enjoy that turkey, everybody. But until next time, job's done.
Job's done. Yes!
Good show. Actually, I gotta just pat ourselves on the back there for having to pull that many cards that we've never seen before.
I know, all of a sudden, and be able to talk about them.
Like,
yeah,
damn, dude. That went pretty well once we ironed out all the technical bullshit.
Yeah, the technical stuff was terrible.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to get the hell out of here. Can you handle all the video stuff? Because I'm going to be strapped right now.
Dude, you got to get on a plane. Don't worry about it.
All right, cool, man.
You do your thing.
Yeah, I gotta like finish everything and then talk about wrestling. For an hour.
I think I'll hang out with the chat room while I post and just chill.
Sweet, dude. So next week, normal time. I'll see you then.
Yeah, Tuesday, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 p.m. your time.
All right, peace out, chat.
Bye now. There we go. Cool. So I'm going to blip the stream, but I'll be right back. I just want to free up the VOD. If anyone wants to hang out, do a Q&A, whatever the case may be. Let's